So how's your day been so far?
Good, busy,
Yeah.
as in the garden. The weather was supposed to be cold and rainy here, but it's not. It's warm and sunny, so no excuse. We're doing the borders around the vegetable patch.
Uh,
Live, live the dream.
so one of the things about the place you've got at the moment is you bought that last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we bought it in. We actually put the offer in. I think it was April, May. So it's almost 12 months ago now. We put the offer in. Yeah.
And it wasn't habitable when you bought it.
No, you couldn't get it. Well, we didn't. But when we bought it, we hadn't seen it. We bought it online. We'd driven past it. We bought it, and we got into it in, I'm going to say probably May or June time. We had to literally hack our way through the garden, which was 2 meters high weeds, and
Wow.
then we had to do all the new roof, new electrics, and the whole thing. And we actually moved in about 2 months ago, I suppose, 6 weeks, 2 months ago. Yeah.
Okay. When you started out, what was your plan?
Well, we knew we wanted it. Good question. I think we knew we wanted to have a typical French cottage, the style of building a little village, and we'd looked around for about 18 months, and this one popped up. And I didn't realize what, because in France, if you put an offer in on a property and it's not accepted, it becomes binding. So it was a Sunday afternoon, a rainy Sunday, and we found this place, and we did the Google Maps thing and everything like that, did all the searching for it. And I thought, I'll send them an offer. So I put an offer in for it. And within half an hour, they came back and said yes. I went, okay. And so we bought it on a Sunday afternoon, pretty much. But the plan was always to have about 12 months in our existing house and 12 months to get a house up to spec. So we had Neil Brown and his team. Thankfully, they came and put a new roof on for us, new electrics throughout, and that was all very planned and structured. And then every room has got a design. We've had to rebuild a complete new kitchen, a new bathroom, new utility room, and everything's been done from scratch. And the house is probably 2/3 done, I guess, now, and we're finishing off the garden now. But so there was a plan, but it was a bit of a shock to realize that we bought it. We bought it online. Anyway, it's all good fun.
Yep. One of the first questions I had written down, in fact, a couple of days ago when we finalized doing this was, how did you get into ballroom dancing?
Good question. I spent a long time. My apprenticeship, which I started 40 odd years ago, was in military weaponry. I was working for Royal Ordnance, wasn't in the military, working alongside, and I did that for about 5 or 6 years, and then went into military subcontracting. And after a period of time, I realized I'd like to do something, career-wise. It wasn't involved with basically, killing people efficiently, if you like. And I mentioned this to Lynn, and I thought nothing about it. But Lynn sent off an advert. It was in the Sunday Times magazine, I think, newspaper, I think it was. And unbeknown to me, she sent an advert off. Some company in London looking for I think it was an operations manager was the first job. And anyway, we got a phone call, got to go for an interview. So I drove from Southampton, where we lived then, up to Mitcham in South London, and went for an interview at this ballroom dress making company. And I remember we sat there. There's a group of about 4 or 5 people for this board, the interview board. And there's people there. There's a couple of guys from Savile Row. There's the people there from the West End, from the theatre, and all this sort of thing. And they're all talking about the projects they've been involved in previously. And there was sort of Cats or Phantom of the Opera and this sort of thing. And they said to me, what was my previous project? And it was the spares packing case for the nuclear Trident submarine periscope packing case for the Navy. Anyway, I thought I got no chance, but they phoned on the way when I drove home. They phoned, I got the job, and I worked with a ballroom dress making manufacturing company for a number of years. It was fabulous. They were great people. In fact, I'm still in touch with Peter, the owner. He's in Austria now. So I fell into it. I was in women's clothing for about 5 years, as I tell people, and it was fantastic. But it was a real good career move. I loved it, but it's a big shift from military manufacturing and subcontracting.
Yep. And nowadays you help people in their business, and one of the questions that comes to mind, just trying to keep it on a light-hearted way, is what's the most ridiculous business you've come across?
Well, the strangest business, yeah, my ridiculous business. The strangest one, I think, was we used to go when I was in the UK to a networking group called BNI, and it was in the middle of Birmingham in the UK, and a lady there was from Orange Telephones, and anyway, be passing referrals around. Those who know BNI will understand what happens. And she gave me this referral, and it was to go and see a guy at a warehouse in the back end of West Bromwich in Birmingham. So I thought, okay, great. So I had the phone call and went to see this guy. Anyway, it turns out that he and his business partners, they ran and owned a drinks distribution business. That was the warehouse. But also they owned and ran one of the biggest gay nightclubs in the UK, if not in Europe, in Birmingham, in the gay quarter, the gay village, as they call it. So he said, look, I want you to help me with my drinks distribution business. Oh, great. That's fun. He said, but, can you nip down to the nightclub and go and meet the team and help those people out as well? I'm like, yeah, sure, it'll be fine. So I walked into there, and that was one of the most bizarre, strange meetings that I had. I mean, a fabulous bunch of people, but they were dressed ready to go on stage, and you've got people in, they were dressing up, dressing down. They were quite an unusual bunch. And so that was a very unusual business to be part of. But again, we were with them for a number of years, and we're still in touch with them now. And Lynn and I actually hired out the nightclub for our 21st wedding anniversary. We had a big party there, but we didn't tell anybody it was a gay nightclub. And watching, parents and aunts and uncles and friends turn up, and they had a really good time. But it was a really cool business with a great bunch of very colourful people as well. So that's probably not ridiculous, but the strangest, I think, most unusual, I think, business so far.